Hello, fellow travelers, or should I say, Grüß Gott, fellow travelers. Mark here with woltersworld, and today we're in Bolzano, Italy. Though when you come here, you'll swear that you got off when you were in Austria, because Bolzano definitely has an Austrian vibe, because don't think this place was always in Italy. This actually was part of Austria for a while. That's why when you see Wolters' statue on Woltersplatz, when he's there looking, he's looking to the south toward Italy, because when it was built, this was in Austria. So just remember that when you're here. And today what we have for you are the don'ts of visiting Bolzano, Italy. And I think another thing you need to realize is a lot of people come here to visit Bolzano for the coolest guy in Europe. And I gotta tell you, don't think it's weird if you go to a museum that's dedicated to a frozen human popsicle who's been frozen for 5,000 years. Yes, Otzi the Iceman, you know, of the 19 different History Channel documentaries. Yeah, he's here. There's actually a museum just for him in the Südtiroler Archaeology Museum, and they actually found him relatively close to here near the Austrian border. And I'm going to tell you right now, don't bring up the fact that it was only about 95 to 100 meters into Italy when they found it, because the Austrians are still a little bitter about that one. But I will say, when you go there, don't expect to see a lot of Otzi, because you literally get a window about this big to look at him, and you got to wait in a line. So Liam and I went in there together to kind of see them at the same time, and then Jocelyn came in. So the line to see him can be a bit long, and you don't really get to like look at him a lot. Also, don't think you can take pictures of him as well. The entire floor where Otzi is in his refrigerator, and they have his clothing and his arrows, you can't take any pictures there. So don't think you can take pictures of him when you're here. And also, don't forget to reserve your time slot to go see him, because you can just come up and wait in line and get in. They have that, but when it gets really busy, especially here in the summer or during the Christmas time when the Christmas market's here, the lines can be pretty long, and you can just go online and reserve a spot, and you don't even pay for the ticket online. You just reserve your spot, and then you have that like fast pass line to go in, which is really good. So make sure you check that out. But you know what? There's plenty of other things to do here aside from talking about Otzi the Iceman, all right? And I really want to kind of go into something that was important that I alluded to before, and that is, don't be surprised if you feel like you're in Austria when you are here, because like I said, it was part of Austria for a long time. And so when you're looking at the architecture, when you're looking at the people, when you're looking at the food, you will definitely get much more of a Austria vibe than an Italy vibe. Now you'll see the Italian, you know, influence here and there with the shops, and the pasta and pizza is still available here. It's not all knödel and spätzle here and pretzels, though there are a lot, but that is something I think you want to know. And that's why something that's going to be interesting for you is, don't be surprised if you hear more German here than you hear Italian, because still a lot of people are speaking German that live here. And so when you're here, like when we went out to eat, I ordered in German. I talked to people in German. When I was at the shops, I spoke German. When I was at the museum, I spoke German. I speak both German and Italian, and it was easy to do the German because I felt people were more likely to go to German first when you're here. So make sure you remember Danke, which is thank you in German, right? And Ja, which is yes in German, and Nein, which is no in German, because there is that here. And if you want to kind of have it reinforced in your mind that this was actually a former part of Austria, remember, this is called Südtirol, so South Tyrol, but it's in the northern part of Italy. Yeah, because the other part is up in Austria. Now, as I've alluded to before, don't expect to find a lot of pasta and pizza when you're here in Bolzano. That's not why you come here. You come here for the Bolzano food, the Austrian food. You're having your knödel, the dumplings, yeah, maybe a spinach dumpling or a bread dumpling or a liver dumpling soup, you might have that. The spätzle, their pasta they love from here with some cheese in it. Oh my goodness, the pretzels when you're here, these big soft pretzels you're gonna just gnaw on when you're here, or just the desserts and you're having the strudel that's here, or go to one of the bakeries or the cafes here and sit down and have the cakes that are here. It's very, very different cafe cake eating here than in other parts of Italy, so take advantage of that. And when you're walking around, you're going to notice that different vibe with the architecture, and obviously with the mountains all around. It's just a gorgeous place. And what I want to say is, don't pass up the portici, which is basically don't pass up the porticos here, because what you'll see is there's some streets here that just have porticos where all the shops are in the porticos. So there's the road here, and then the walls come up, and then you have all this enclosed space. So if you're here in the winter time and it's snowy and cold, which it does get here, you're protected from the elements. And it's really kind of a beautiful walk to go down. And yes, there's the local shops are there, and of course the, you know, traditional, you know, Zara kind of shops are there as well. So you have that, but the portici are really pretty to walk through, okay? And I know I said when it's winter time, those portici are really helpful, but also they're really helpful in the summertime too, because I want to tell you this. Don't think just because we're here in the mountains that it's actually cool here in the summer. It actually gets very hot here in the summer, so you will want to be doing your shorts and t-shirt if you're going to be coming here in the summertime. But don't worry, if you come at Christmas time, you'll have a snowy Christmas, all right? So it does get chilly in the winter. Now, another thing I think is important for all of our Wolters World fans here is don't think that Wolterplatz is named after me. No, Wolterplatz is named after somebody completely different. Sadly, it's not my square. But honestly, you want to go to Wolterplatz or Piazza di Wolter, and it's just this pretty square with restaurants all around it. You get some ice cream there, get your cafe or whatever, and enjoy a cake or something, or they actually have pasta and pizza at that square too. But you can have the local food as well. But it's really beautiful, and right there is the Duomo, the cathedral, or the dome. You can go there, and when you look at the cathedral, you really get a feeling like, wait a minute, I don't really feel like I'm in Italy right now, because the Duomo, the cathedral, definitely has much more of an Austrian feel than an Italian feel, okay? And so I think to go along with it, obviously don't skip out on going into the Duomo, into the cathedral, because it is beautiful to check out. And there are a number of beautiful churches to see when you're here. You got the Dominican church you can go to. You can go to the Franciscan monastery to see that. I mean, there's a lot of ecclesiastical things you can visit in this town. It's not just eating Austrian food and drinking the good beer when you're here. And I think drinking the good beer leads me to another don't I have for you. Don't forget to have a drink when you're here. And the thing is, the best beers in Italy are brewed here by Bolzano. So you can get like a Forest beer, which is my favorite Italian beer to have. You can grab that, but there's a lot of local brews you can have here. But also the more important local brew that you'll see that around here is when you're taking the train in, you're gonna see all those vineyards, and there is fantastic wine here. So don't pass up a chance to do a vineyard tour, because there are so many here to have. And if you're gonna have some of those great wines, I mean, there's a lot of the white wines, you know, you've got the Rieslings that are here, but there's also red wines you can have when you're here. Le Grain is one that we really liked, and then there's the red wines, the Saint Magdalena, which was nice, but honestly, the Le Grain was way better for us. Another white wine you might want to have when you're here is the Gewürztraminer. That's also really nice for like a cool white wine to have. Another don't I do have for you when you're here in Bolzano is if you're more used to the way outgoing, super friendly Italian nature of other parts of Italy, you might not get as much of that here in Bolzano when you're shopping and eating as you do in other parts of Italy. They're not bad, it's just not that same Italian vibe of friendliness and outgoingness. So just want to give you the heads up on that one, which I'm sure people will point out because this was not part of Italy until about 100 years ago. So I do understand that, but I just want people that are coming here to make sure they do understand the difference that you're going to have when it comes to service when you're here in Bolzano versus other parts of Italy. Just letting you know. And I would be remiss if I don't talk about the hot dog stands or the Wurst stands that are around here in Bolzano, because you can get quesadilla. This is my favorite bratwursty kind of thing. It's got a little just extra bit of cheesy deliciousness in there. You can obviously grab the pretzels like Liam did. They've got hot dogs. They have Weisswurst, which is white sausage. That's always good, but you get all kinds of good stuff when you're here or when you're on the go. So don't forget to grab these too when you're eating here in Bolzano, okay? And another thing you'll see when you're coming in on the train is you're gonna see all the beautiful mountains around here. We are in the capital of the Dolomites. This is one of the most popular places for Italians to come and do hiking and wandering in the mountains, because they're gorgeous mountains to visit when you're here. So my don't for that is don't forget and don't pass up a chance to do some hikes, to go explore the Dolomites, because it is gorgeous when you're here. Whether you're hiking, whether you're gonna take one of the funiculars up, oh yeah, don't pass up one of the funiculars to go up there and visit some of these places. It's gorgeous to explore the mountains, renting a car and going around. And honestly, don't be afraid to rent a car when you're here to go explore around this area, because there's a lot of great villages and towns nearby and other cities you can see very, very easily and very, very quickly from here. And I think one of the things that the car is going to help you for, and you can do some of these by walking, is don't skip out on going to some of the castles that are here by Bolzano. The Murecchio Castle is nearby. It's not that far to get to. You can actually walk to that one. But probably the one that's most famous is the Roncolo Castle, or the Castello Roncolo, because they have all of the risque frescoes that people like to take pictures of and get postcards for and send to their friends back home to make them feel uncomfortable when it shows up at their door. You know, so you have a number of castles around here that you can go explore, so definitely go out and do that. Don't just stay in the town. Now, don't feel you have to wander outside the town because there's so much to see when you're here, whether you go to Piazza delle Erbe, where all the little market stalls are, or you, like I told you, the portici, you can walk through there. Just take it in the architecture in here, and the atmosphere is really great. The Piazza del Grano. There's a lot of different things you can see and do to wander around in the city, but honestly, if you can get out, explore, and go to those castles and see the churches in the hills and stuff, it's just in the mountains, it's just gorgeous when you're here. And when you see the scraggly Dolomite peaks, it just adds to the adventure. And one thing I got to tell you is, don't forget to fortify yourself before you go on these hikes and you go adventuring. Well, fortifying yourself and letting people know where you're going to go and know your hikes and having the right gear, but also don't forget to go to those pastry shops and those bakeries, or go to Lecca when you are here to get some of the good treats so you can fortify yourself for the hike ahead. And I think it's important for me to mention that, look, don't think Bolzano is just an Iceman and a church and some mountains. There's actually a number of museums that are here. You got the Messner Mountain Museum, you got a nature museum here, you got a museum of mercantile, a mercantile museum to talk about like trade and stuff. So it's actually kind of cool because this area really was a trade hub for a long time, and it is still a relatively decent business center as well. And then I gotta say, if you can come here at Christmas time, don't skip out on coming here at Christmas time, because they have probably some of the best Christmas markets in Italy to come visit. And the thing is, when you come here, you're more likely to have that snow and Christmas vibe, and that hot wine will just hit a little bit nicer, and that warm apple strudel will just go down a little bit better than anywhere else you're gonna have it when you are in Italy during the holidays. So I hope this helps you know a bit better what to do and not to do when you do come here to Bolzano. If you want to learn more, go over to our Wolters World Eats channel. We actually have a video on what to eat when you come here to Bolzano. So I'll say bye from here from the Dolomites.